Why do we watch Deal or No Deal? So if you've ever watched 10 minutes of Deal or No Deal, you'll likely have seen a very strange phenomenon. A person stands in front of 26 sealed, numbered boxes in a game that's entirely led by blind, unfeeling probability, and yet they start talking about gut instincts, lucky numbers, and reading the banker and stuff like that. Even stranger, sitting on your sofa, you start agreeing with them. But on paper, watching someone open random cardboard boxes for an hour should be excruciatingly dull TV. Yet millions of people have watched it religiously, not because of the money, but because the show quietly exposes something deep about human nature, our absolute refusal to accept that some parts of life are just completely random. So let's look at the pattern machine. If you watch 2 episodes back to back, something odd happens. You stop being a passive viewer and you start developing theories. So you might think contestants are playing wrong. You start wondering whether they should have kept that box 14, whether a run of low numbers mean a big one must be coming up, or whether wearing lucky socks actually alters the cosmic fabric of the studio. A game built entirely on chance starts to feel as if there must be a strategy. So why do we do this? We do this because human beings hate randomness. We are pattern-seeking creatures. In evolutionary terms, that served us well. So assuming a rustle in the grass was a predator kept our ancestors alive, even if it was just usually the wind. But in modern life, that same brain hardware makes us invent hidden systems, even where none exist. We would rather believe that picking box 17 means something than admit that we have zero control over what happens. Generating a story about why things happen makes an unpredictable world feel manageable. We don't just see patterns, we manufacture them to keep anxiety at bay. Then comes the centrepiece of the show, the banker. Now, the banker isn't just interesting because he's a shadowy villain trying to trick people. The banker is interesting because he represents something humans struggle with every day. Certainty versus possibility. So the offer is not just money, it is certainty. The phone rings and the banker offers £50,000. That £50,000 is guaranteed. It's an exit ramp from the discomfort of the unknown. The tension sitting in that room is simple. 50,000 guaranteed versus what if I choose the £250,000 if I carry on? That is a human dilemma, not a maths lesson. Taking the banker's offer means giving up on the story of winning the jackpot, while turning it down means risking total ruin for a fantasy. We watch because we recognise that exact friction in our own lives. The comfort of knowing what will happen right now versus the seductive lure of what might be behind the door. Let's look at mistaking outcomes for judgment. Watch long enough and you'll see the audience fall into one of our biggest cognitive traps, confusing a good decision with a lucky outcome. So a contestant turns down a guaranteed £40,000 offer when they have an 80% chance of leaving the studio with less than £10. Statistically, taking that gamble is appalling, but by pure blind luck, they open the right box and walk away with 250 grand. The crowd goes wild, the host praises their bravery and intuition, and the viewer on the sofa concludes that they played a brilliant game. Conversely, if someone makes a sensible, carefully calculated choice and simply gets unlucky, we call them foolish. In psychology, this is known as outcome bias, or what professional poker players call resulting. We lazily evaluate the quality of a choice based entirely on how it turned out. You see this everywhere in real life. So a reckless business gamble happens to pay off because of the timing of the market, and then that gets written up as visionary leadership. A sensible, well thought out strategy that gets wiped out by an unpredictable global event gets labelled as incompetence. We constantly credit people with genius when they just happen to flip a coin and land on heads. Once you notice this tendency to invent skill in random environments, you start spotting it everywhere. It's the hiring manager who believes that they can read a candidate's entire character from a 30-second handshake. It's the commentator who claims they saw a surprise election result coming all along. We mistake a run of good luck for mastery of the rules. The real risk in life rarely comes from just taking a gamble. The real risk comes from taking a gamble, winning by total accident, and convincing yourself that you knew what was inside the box all along. The lesson here isn't that you should never trust your instincts or that experience counts for nothing. The lesson is learning to separate what you actually influence from what is simply beyond your control.